Welcome to Where Are They Now? We reach into the archives of Lenape, Shawnee, Cherokee, and Seneca High Schools and invite selected alumni to share memories and fill us in on their career paths after commencement. Since Lenape's first graduating class in 1961, Shawnee's in 1972, Cherokee's in 1978, and Seneca's in 2005, over 72,000 individuals have received diplomas from these four schools. Hello and welcome to Where Are They Now? I'm Mark Sonsini, a 1996 graduate of Cherokee High School, and today we'll be talking with a Lenape graduate from the class of 2004. He is a professional basketball player appearing in over 500 NBA games and currently playing in the Spanish Professional Basketball League in Europe. I'd like to welcome Jason Thompson to the show today. Jason, thanks for being here.
Appreciate you for having me.
We're excited to hear about your career in basketball. Before we get to that, let's go back to your time here at Lenape, and even before that, you grew up in Mount Laurel, right?
For sure, yeah.
Okay. And any siblings at Lenape with you?
Yeah, I had a younger brother, Ryan, who was 2 years younger than me.
Okay. And then we'll get into this later, but he also has a similar career path to you. He's in professional basketball, went to Rider University as well, so I'm sure you were a big influence on him. Let's talk about some of the people who had an influence on you, your time here at Lenape, some of your teachers. One I know was Elizabeth Boucher in English. Tell me about her.
Yeah, for sure. That being, my major going into Rider, when I signed my letter of intent there, she had an impact of just, because like I said, I wasn't a person that I expressed more of my things like speaking and communicating rather than writing it down. Someone usually would write it down and I would give all the ideas and brainstorm and things like that. So She really opened my eyes when it came to like doing certain things, certain shows, and things like that. And then once I became confident in that, then I knew that that's something I would want to do probably later on in the future.
Very nice. Somebody else who had an impact on you was Bill Lang.
For sure.
History teacher, also your coach during your time playing basketball here at Lenape.
Yeah, on and off the court, had a huge impact, on the court and his way he led us and just having a vision of, sometimes, coaches are just about talking about things, but really, when we made it all the way to the state championship, we're undefeated, just having that pressure of winning every game. And then, if you lose and it's the biggest game of the year, it's kind of a letdown.
Right.
But we made that happen, and then also to making sure of that student athlete going into college. He was one of my teachers. He didn't let me just ease by into the class. Right. Really, made me have to, do a lot and earn, a good grade.
Good. And Dave Rohr was another one here at Lenape.
For sure, real good guy. Still, one of those guys that still played. So he ran an after-school basketball program, during the off season, and I kind of was like the guru of running it and just, being able to play indoors. And like you said, he was one of those teachers that if you had a student in a faculty game, he was the guy that was going to get buckets, but he just wasn't going to get them on me.
Fred Rucker, your world cultures teacher,
yeah, friend of the families, but then also too a guy that taught me a lot in the classroom. But like I said, didn't really let it just ease by. Really taught me a lot. Still talk to him each and every day. Supports me in all the events and my games that I have each and every day, just like everyone else that I named as well. So really good dude.
Terrific. And then of course Mary Jane Mullen, who's a friend of so many here at Lenape, and she's supported you throughout the years as well.
Yeah, the heart and soul, I would say, of the school. 59 years being here. So I got to see her, and this is a person that was there during my draft night, was here at all my games in high school, came to Rider and see my games there, and then also when I was in the NBA. So like I said, just not just a person that felt obligated to be around and like a person while I was here, but supported me throughout, through thick and thin.
That's great. So obviously basketball you're involved with here at Lenape, also African American Club. Tell me about some of the memories. Obviously you mentioned the undefeated season and the 2004 Group 4 state title. Tell me what that experience was like.
It's unbelievable, honestly. I think nowadays it's a little bit different because when younger kids can make it on varsity now, it's like more known. But back then, it really, you find a diamond in the rough. If you're a freshman playing varsity, it was a huge deal. Nowadays it's kind of like, oh, all right, they're going to be good. They have the potential.
Yeah.
But like I was one of those guys where like, oh, I should be doing this. I should be doing this. But like I said, Coach Lang had a vision for us guys, kept us together. And like I said, we kept getting better, stronger, and like I said, had a historical year that I don't even think we get the credit that we do even years after. Being 28-0, winning the state championship, the following that we had, throughout. And that's why I was even trying to tell some of the younger Lenape kids now, man, is just enjoy the moment. You don't ever know when it's going to be your last time playing or last time with those guys.
Sure.
So just pretty much blood, sweat, and tears on the court and off the court, made a historical year and something that we'll never forget.
Terrific. I remember we were looking back at some of the footage. We used to have a program here called The Locker Room where we'd interview some teams and some of the athletes, and we talked to you one year during that show. Do you remember?
I would love to see what I said and what I was doing.
Coach Lang's been coaching for a lot of years, and it's definitely great to be a part of his 400th career win, and I'm really excited for him, and we're just excited to start this season and accomplish that goal for him. His experience, first coming in, we weren't really used to his system, and we had other coaches that coached differently from him, so we had to regress at his offense and his defensive skills. And once we got on his concept, and we really just turned everything around.
You were recently honored here at Lenape as part of that basketball team. They had a recognition night for you to honor you and dedicate a banner to you. Tell me about that, what that experience was like.
Great, overwhelming experience having my family and my friends, pretty much all the hard work that I put in, paying off into a night. And like I said, I haven't been back in Lenape pretty much for the past 15 years or so. So to be able to watch a game, watch the new up and coming talent in our team, won the Olympic Conference championship in a special night, and then them honoring me. It was amazing. Like I said, I had some of my classmates that were there. So it just shows like the love and support that I get from people, that it's just not there just appreciating what I do, as the Jason Thompson, the basketball player, but the person, the student as well, and that, meant a lot to me.
That's terrific. And you've done a lot, we'll get into it later, but to give back to the community as well. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. We were looking through the yearbook, and we found your senior quote, your words of wisdom, and it was, set a goal for yourself, work hard at it, and you can achieve it with authority. Believe that. And a great quote from you, and I was looking at your website for one of the programs that you're in charge of now, and a very similar quote. So something that seems to be a way of life for you, something that's stuck with you over the years.
For sure. Just had a bunch of people, telling me, there is no athlete without being a student. So I knew how important it was to be able to do things. I mean, I had, a teacher come up to me, and, like that first day of school where people were like, hey, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I remember, the first one I said was, go to the NBA. And then I said, be an agent. And then another one I said, be a therapist, or, sports therapist. And, when I said the NBA, the teacher was like, hey, just be a little bit more realistic. These are, once in a lifetime type things. And like, I felt like that day on, that kind of gave me motivation to be able to not have someone let your hopes and dreams down. Because like I said, with the right mindset, hard work, and being around the right people, it could come true. So I'm a living part of that situation. And like I said, the rest is history. So I went back to that same teacher when I was in middle school and said, do you still believe the same thing? And like I said, I proved them wrong, and want the kids with the same mindset to know that they can be able to live their dream as well.
That's great. So at what age did you start thinking about, playing the NBA or playing professional basketball?
Well, I mean, vaguely I would say when I was always young, but I think that it started becoming more into my own with maybe my sophomore year in college, where, I felt like I had the skills and I had the ability. But I remember they were saying that, you just got to kind of get a little bit stronger, sharpen up some things, and we'll see what happens. And then eventually, into my junior year, Started going to some NBA camps and stuff like that before my senior season. Started playing against different competitions, seeing what I needed to work on, seeing what I needed to do, and then everything kind of just came together my senior year, and pretty much the rest is history after that.
So speaking of college, you go to Rider University, and your communications major there, and a terrific career you had there. You were MAC Player of the Year, 2-time MAC Defensive Player of the Year. All-time leading rebounder in school history, second in school history, all-time in points. You finished with 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds. One of 3 NCAA players in 06-07 to average 20 points and 10 rebounds a game, and you were inducted into the Rider Sports Hall of Fame in 2016. What was that experience like for you, and how did that, you feel, sort of prepare you for what was to come?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of hard work, and it's great to hear kind of like the stats and stuff like that. And I wish it was that easy of how things sound.
Right.
But like I said, it is tough to do those type of things when you are a student athlete, because the only way for you to be able to play is that you have to get a certain GPA and keep that up while you're doing well, on the court as well. But like I said, I put the work in. I knew the potential that I could possibly have, and I was put in the right situations, and then just kept going with it. And it's unfortunate, my last year, I had got to the conference championship twice, and unfortunately we were at supposed to be a neutral place, but the team we played against, it was their home floor.
Oh.
Yeah, so the rest is history.
There,
exactly. That, especially the small school that we have.
Yeah.
And then my senior year, we were, one of the top teams in the country, was winning games in a row. And then my brother had went there. When I was a senior, he was a sophomore, and he ended up getting a concussion the first game of the tournament, and then was out the rest of the tournament. So we had a lot of injuries. You don't ever want to make excuses, but that's one thing that I wish I could have experienced, was getting to the tournament.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of other experiences coming up. You're drafted 12th overall in the NBA by the Sacramento Kings in 2008. And a bit unusual, no, to come from, like, as you mentioned, a small school like Rider, and to fall not only in the first round, but at number 12, probably a bit unusual, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, coming in my junior year, you see that, hey, you may be able to go to the league, see what happens. Maybe a second round, I may not be able to be drafted. And going into my senior year, I started seeing my name floating around in the first round. And things like that, and then had a great year, led my team to a lot of wins and success, and then was able to do well in the draft workouts, and then I keep seeing my name going up and up. So like I said, it's crazy how the system of the NBA draft is, because pretty much when you guys are watching ESPN and seeing it, like, that's kind of how we know.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask you. What was your draft night experience like? Are you just at home with the family?
It was amazing. It literally was down the street at my house. I was invited to the draft, but I ended up having like NBA TV and Comcast and everyone coming to the house, which is the gift and the curse, because if something doesn't go right, then
watching.
They're still there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They still have to make a story, and everything is live. But like I said, I feel like even I was projected high, it was picked high, the night still felt long. Like, you know what I mean? Because everyone in the house, you could tell, is just like on pins and needles. They don't know, the uncertainty. Every TV in the house is on that. You hear all the echoes of, the draft and stuff like that.
Each team gets, what, 5 minutes, but it probably feels like an hour.
Man, that's what I'm saying. It felt like 30 minutes, and man, it was just amazing. Like I said, I still look at some of the clips of having my parents and selected family that were there. And then everyone met up with me at Champ Sports, which is not there anymore, in Marlton, and it was overwhelming. You had people from Lenape, you had people from my college, and pretty much the whole South Jersey came out to support me. So that was an overwhelming and great experience. I'll never forget.
So are you getting phone calls from different teams, right up until the time?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Or? So yeah, most of the time it was for like my agents were getting all the stuff.
Okay.
And I'll never forget when the Blazers had the 11th pick, and they picked Jared Bayless, who then Sacramento was on the clock, and then someone had texted my agent and said, "Congrats." And I'm thinking at the time, like, I don't know if he had any other clients, like,
Right.
in the draft,
Yeah.
knowing that, like, I probably was his most high-profile, client at the time. And then before, David Stern said my name, which felt like it was, like, in slow motion.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to him. He called my name, so it was, like I said, it was an overwhelming experience. And like I said, to have my family there with me was great as well.
That's terrific. So your rookie season, you play all 82 games with the Kings, 11.1 points and 7.4 rebounds a game. So really good rookie season. And in 10-11, you have your career best season with 12.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 25 minutes a game. What were those first few years in the league like for you?
It was interesting. I couldn't even just say one. It's just, like I said, I'm saying overwhelming, but it was, just, being a lottery pick, being on the team, being in California pretty much the second time ever, being a 21-year-old going kind of like, going 3,000 miles away. I locally go to a college that was 30 minutes away from the high school and where I'm from, so it was just different. And then having a coach being fired, that half of the season of my rookie year, and then having a new coach, having an interim coach and having a new coach into the second year. So I would say, like, and not to jump ahead, but in my 7 years in Sacramento, I had 7 coaches in 7 years in one organization, which is a little bit crazy. So it's tough to see the stability of a system, a coach,
Right.
teammates and players. I mean, nowadays you see a lot of teams try to have a coach and then a core guys to stick around and then have them build and build and build. You don't ever really see it, fall apart, except the trust the process days with the Sixers and stuff like that too as well. But like I said, I mean, it was a blessing, and it was great to just be able to play at the highest level.
Sure.
And then, it wasn't bad as well to live in California and not experience those winters that I always did as a kid as well too.
Was it tough did you constantly feel like you had to prove yourself every time a new coach would come in and kind of show what you can do again all over?
Yeah, in a way, and I really didn't notice it until you get a little bit older and stuff like that. Like, you have to do that, and that's not how it really is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in I'm the longest tenured in the team's history. You're supposed to have some type of comfort level with a team, with a system, an organization, and never was like that. I feel like I might have the most teammates in NBA history being on one team for sure.
Yeah.
Over 100 or so. And then coaches in that short amount of time as well. So, like I said, it's not the best. It wasn't the best situation, to say the least, because even the team was thinking about moving at that time. So that was another thing. But like I said, it's not the worst, and I was, living the dream.
But you were the one that stuck around for
a lot of years,
so
for sure.
That's good for you. And during your time there in Sacramento is when you start your charitable work, and you sponsored 8 summer camps during your time there. Over 1,500 free registrations for kids in the area. Talk about that and why you felt that was important to do.
For sure. I just think that I knew when I was younger, just seeing what it took for me to see myself develop, and the camps and the clinics and the things that my parents, helped me out, and I was fortunate enough for them to let them, take me to those places. I knew once I could ever have that type of platform, I wanted to always give back. And what a better way to a city that, I was playing for, blood, sweat, and tears for all these years. So, it was great to just give back to less fortunate kids that have the talent but weren't able to use it in certain ways, So, I would, like I said, do free camps and be able to help kids out and that maybe couldn't afford it and stuff like that. Because that wasn't my thing, is to pocket money, because even if the money that I do raise, I still just give it out to other events, charitable events that I do years and years. So like I said, it was a great thing, and we've been doing it for the past 12 years, and now I'm moving it to South Jersey at River Winds in West Deptford every August. It has been overwhelming as well.
Terrific. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So the summer of 2015 comes. You're traded from the Kings to the Sixers for a brief time, then Golden State, and then you eventually end up later that season with the Toronto Raptors, and that's your first experience in the playoffs, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, long time coming. I was definitely in the playoff drought. I think I was one of the made history in that too. Was the guy that had the most games played and hadn't been in the playoffs. So it was fortunate, to be with a great group of guys, great coach in Dwayne Casey that gave me an opportunity and a chance to finish out the season with them and make it to the playoffs. And like I said, we, like I said, it had 2 Game 7s. One was Indiana and then the other one was Miami, and then ended up playing LeBron's Cavaliers that year. They ended up winning the championship. When we were the first team to beat them, they were just sweeping teams.
Okay.
And we ended up beating them in a close
was the East
series.
Finals, right?
Yeah, that was the Eastern Conference Finals. So like I said, it was just great to be at that high level where everyone in the world is watching.
Yeah.
And being able to play at that big stage.
Does it feel like the competition level jumps up in the playoffs
For
compared to the
sure.
regular season?
That's where like stars and players are made. I've seen guys that have not so good regular seasons, but then if they, boost their, stats and their, abilities in the playoffs, then that makes or breaks guys.
Yeah.
So I've seen it a lot.
Yeah, you have seen a lot, over 588 NBA games. Any fun stories or really great memories of your time there?
For sure. One sticks out, which was, it went viral, and in like 5 minutes is when, I kind of had like when I was a rookie. So my vets were like Brad Miller, Mikey Moore, Francisco Garcia, guys like that. And you have rookie duties. So we were supposed to, get bagels and donuts and things like that for the team. And I just know I needed to get one more lift. So for this trainer, you had to get at least 10 lifts in a month. And at the time I had 9, but I was like running late. So I told someone, in the organization to get it for me. I give them the money and everything was good. So as they're doing it, they go inside the weight room to give me the stuff, so knowing it wasn't me. So it kind of was in the public and stuff like that. So I come back from practice, and then I go to my car, and my car was filled with popcorn. Buttered, it's all over. And at the time I had an Escalade, so it's filled up to the top. Open the door, the popcorn's coming out and everything. So once this hit YouTube, man, it was million views in like 5 minutes. So it was going crazy. Thank God I had people clean it out for me and stuff like that too. Yeah, exactly. Amazing detailed job. But yeah, that was one of the memories that sticks out the most.
Any teammates you still keep in touch with?
For sure. Dante Green, he's not in the NBA now, but really, really great friend of mine. Darren Collison, and the list goes on with some of the guys that I know and things like that. So like I said, the NBA family is very small, and like I said, I was blessed enough to be able to play in it for 8 years, and it's great.
But your time in pro basketball is not finished. The next season you are in the Chinese Pro Basketball League.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was good. I would say like it was very similar play when it comes to the league, especially in how the NBA is now.
Okay.
Rather than when I came in there, it was more mid-range and post moves and stuff like that. And now it's like more run and gun, 3-point shooting, high-flying dunks and stuff. So I would say like CBA is more of that, a lot of offense.
Okay.
And that's what's kind of my game. That's what made me who I am, where to be a versatile big, to be able to stretch the floor, handle the ball at my size at 6'11". So it was definitely different just because, not playing in the U.S. and having, family and stuff there all the time and stuff. But, still have people visiting. Still was a blessing. Got to the playoffs. And, it was a great experience.
The next season you move to the Turkish club Fenerbahce. And you have some success there in the Euro League. You won the Turkish championship first, and then the Euro League Final Four. What was that like? Yeah,
it was. That was a great experience as well. We were one of the top teams all in Europe throughout the whole season. So to kind of how Europe is in a way is, we will win 10 games in a row, and then if you lose one game, then everything kind of was a little crazy at times, which is. Like I said, to each his own.
Yeah.
Teams just want to win every time, which is understandable. But, it was a great experience. Got to the EuroLeague Final Four. We ended up playing Real Madrid, which Luka Doncic at the time was on that team, so played them in the championship. Tough game that we lost, and then ended up finishing out the season, winning the Turkish championship. So that was a great experience as well.
Okay. And then the year after that, you go back to the Chinese League for a year, and then you recently just signed with Zaragoza in the Spanish
Spain,
League
yeah.
for this upcoming season.
Yeah.
Any difference in play you're expecting in that league compared to where you've been?
I was in China earlier this year as well, and due to the coronavirus that hit, the season is postponed. So,
Okay.
For me to finish out the season, I wanted to finish it out and be able to, finish my chapter 12, 12th season in my career.
Okay.
And then be able to see how everything goes after that. So I thought it was only right to finish out. The season is kind of weird, not playing basketball at this time of year, and then we'll see what goes over there. But I've been blessed to be able to play the game I love for such a long time. It shows my age a little bit, that 12 years.
Also shows your success and your hard work.
Man, too, appreciate that.
So right now, you're still, when you're not playing, you're still living in the area, right? Close to family. Mm-hmm. You recently became an uncle.
Yeah, for sure.
The first time.
Yeah.
You still like being in the area here and being close to everything where you grew up?
Yes, I mean, I never forget, where I came from and knowing, who helped me throughout the way. So it was great to kind of be around, Ryder, coming here to Lenape and know all the people that helped me out throughout the way. I don't ever try to just take all the credit and soak it up like a sponge. I always try to be able to give back, and especially, to our youth. And, my brother helps me out a lot, with decisions and stuff like that. He's played in Europe for the past 10 years, which is, he's been having a great career as well. And, the bond we have has been great. Everyone always talks about, like, hey, do you argue with your brother? But our brother comes to the same college you go to, as well.
Yeah.
Just tells you how much, respect he has for him, and,
Right.
and love playing, with each other. And then becoming an uncle for the first time with my niece is an amazing as well. She'll be 1 year in a couple months, so
Terrific.
it's great being an uncle as well.
You and your brother ever play against each other professionally?
No, we haven't. No, but I mean, all seasons we're always playing,
Sure.
against each other and stuff like that. But yeah, never head to head.
And you guys run a clinic together?
For sure, yeah, the Scoring Factory of New Jersey. We've been doing that at St. Mary's of Lakes High School or school in Medford,
Yep.
And that's been for 2nd to 12th graders, boys and girls. And like I said, our motive is just to help out to youth and not try to, think it's just for us to consume your money and stuff like that. It's actually giving back to these kids and doing it for the right reasons. So we want to see them develop at young ages and be able to become pros, respectively as women and men, so they can be able to take care of their families.
And another big way you're giving back is the Live Like JT program, which started in 2017.
No, actually, 2009, 2010.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about that program.
Mm-hmm.
You're based now in the Philly, South Jersey region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Help out local kids. Tell us some of the stuff that you do.
Yeah, it's been great as well. Started this leadership program to kind of help out kids and young adults, and a lot of these kids just need the right path to go to, and I wanted to help that. So actually, the Lenape men's basketball team came to a few events that we had annually. Thanksgiving, we do a turkey and Thanksgiving dinner. Meals to less fortunate, families and stuff like that, which they helped out. And Christmas, we do an annual Christmas shopping spree at the Walmart in Mount Laurel. And they come out and we give about 150 to 200 for each and every kid. And like I said, they go out and get stuff for themselves and even their families. I mean, you have like 10-year-olds that are not just only getting toys for themselves, they're actually like, hey, I have a younger sister or I have an older brother that I want to get something for the holiday. So that's like the most overwhelming thing. Yeah, for sure.
That must make you feel great. And I know you don't want to brag, so I'm going to do it for you, but you mentioned Thanksgiving. We're not talking about just, a couple of people here. We're talking 1,500 Thanksgiving dinners, 1,000 turkeys. You mentioned 250 kids shopping sprees. You've collected supplies for 2,000 backpacks and school supplies for kids in need, scholarships to your basketball camp for thousands of kids. Tell me about, winter food and winter supplies for homeless teens. You've donated bikes to the Boys and Girls Club. Just, great stuff. And if anyone wants to contribute or help out with this, how do they do that?
They can go on to www.livelikejt.org. And then also my foundation, which is pretty much the umbrella of the Live Like JT, is thejasonThompsonFoundation.com.
Okay. And what other things does the foundation do along with what we were talking
So pretty
about?
much the mission statement for the foundation, I had a cousin that passed away with a certain heart disease, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is, the #1 leading cause of death when it comes with athletes and just, certain things. So we try to help out young kids and adults to avoid obesity, diabetes, and heart disease and things like that. So what a better way to give back and relive her name is to start this foundation. So we have certain things and certain events like those. I have my annual basketball camp that I've been doing for 12 years, and now we've been doing it for the past 3 or 4 years at Riverwinds in West Deptford. And it's for a week for boys and girls 2nd to 12th grade, so that's been doing great. It's been over 250 kids each and every year. Kids from Delaware and New York and stuff come out to save the day, so that's an amazing thing. We also are going to have a huge event with the Mount Laurel Police and also Fire Department that I'm giving out bikes to less fortunate kids as well. So we're going to give out bikes to the kids, and then they're going to be able to ride around Mount Laurel, which it's going to be a great day as well too. So I'm excited about that.
In the future, when your playing days are done, what kind of plans do you have? Things that you think you might do?
Great question. I think I'll want to dab a little bit into the communication, TV, radio world a little bit. I've done that a few times. I did the broadcasting school at Syracuse and stuff that had to do with the NBA Players Association, which went pretty well.
Cool.
Also, I think I want to get into coaching as well. Not sure what level yet, but maybe college or pro.
Okay.
I definitely wouldn't have probably said that 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But like you said, when you get a little older and a little wiser, there's just certain things that you kind of want to get back to this youth because the game is changing.
Yeah.
And what a better way to kind of give back information to kids nowadays since I've been playing for so long. So it's good.
Well, it's great. You've been doing so much to give back to the community. All of us in the area appreciate that. You giving back, and you're a great ambassador for our region and for Lenape. So we thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So it's been great talking with you today, and we wish you the best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
And keep in touch. All right.
Appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That'll do it for this episode of Where Are They Now? For more Lenape District alumni interviews, check us out at youtube.com/Lenape District TV. We'll see you next time.